For today's cup of coffee with Scream.
Cup of coffee.
Yeah. And it's like prayers for those folks there in Texas. My God.
They got a flood.
Yeah. And it's like lots of people, lost their lives. Other people not found.
Yeah.
And, the folks down in North Carolina, I mean, this was... Our area got hit with Helene, but nothing like those folks down in North Carolina.
See, none of that has been hitting my feed.
And it just was... It was so hard because it was such a day of celebration, and to have that tragedy in with the celebration.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just really hard.
See, it didn't come across my feed, so I didn't know about it, but that fucking sucks.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, on some of that, and it's... When people get beyond... you never get beyond that tragedy. You don't. I'm not trying to minimize it in the least, but it's like, how did this happen?
Mm-hmm.
And Stephon Burns had been talking about for a long time as far as the different solar activity that's going on, how that affects Earth weather, plus the planetary alignments, how that affects Earth weather. And so some of these things, some of this information is not yet mainstream and needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
But also where they had such dry conditions, and then all of a sudden you get a huge amount of rain. Well, the Earth can't soak up the rain like it normally would because it's dry. And so you get that, it just bounces off and runs, and part of it is that people have forgotten how nature works.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true.
And it's interesting because Kerrville was where as far as the eclipses there a couple of years, right there, that was the X.
So I guess that was the forewarning as far as flood or natural disaster.
Something. And that's where Robert Phoenix is in that area.
Mm.
And so it was, appreciate him letting everybody know that he's okay. And I mean, it will affect everybody in that area. It does.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
I mean, that's a major thing.
Oh, yeah. And North Carolina has still areas that's recovering.
Yeah.
And
Not every part of North Carolina has healed up after that.
They're in Western North Carolina, and it's like those people in Asheville, and God, yeah, there's some of those people in Asheville, and I'm like, you people are that tone deaf. And we've got a lot of people out there that are tone deaf. They're not reading the room. Mm-hmm. On this, and it's like that, how quickly something in a split second can alter an individual's life forever.
Yeah. I mean, it makes a huge impact on you, whether you realize it or not at the time.
Well,
really
for some of us, it's a matter of gratitude daily.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because the Cajun Navy, I love those guys. Mm-hmm. I do. And as far as there were some of the, I don't want to call them lower tier in the least, but more of an individual private organization. Mm-hmm. And part of that came to be because what happened to New Orleans years ago.
What happened to
New Orleans is interesting because it is below sea level. It is. It's like a bowl.
Oh.
And so several years...
One big soup bowl.
I think it was Baby Bush that was in office at that point in time.
Bush.
Yeah. When the floodwaters came in and that they were trying to evacuate everybody, and there was a lot of just not prepared for that. And I'm like, if you're living in a bowl... I mean, think of this. They can't even bury people below ground in New Orleans because of the water level.
That's right, because the bodies will just float right up.
Uh-huh.
Ew.
Yeah.
People soup.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
But it was a matter of them
nasty.
not evacuating the people properly, and there was a lot of people that lost their lives. And there's always the second guessing of what more could have been done, but they went right back to it. You're still living in a bowl. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's not a matter, I'm not victim blaming anybody on this. It's a matter of recognizing reality. And that's just like any time that you have rivers and that you are close to a river, there is going to be the possibility of flooding.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, that they had forewarned people that there could be flash floods for a couple of days before the rains came. And people a lot of times get to where they sort of ignore those warnings. Mm-hmm. And to sit there and go, yeah, well, it won't be that bad until it is.
Yeah. It's pretty bad now.
Yeah. And it's like, even around here, there's flooding and then there's flooding. But you never take it for granted. We've got places now that it's like, yeah, something needs to be done about that, because if we get one more hard rain, part of the hill is going to come down. Not on us, but it's in our holler coming up through here.
Yeah, it completely can just block off the road entirely.
Yeah.
Easily.
And to be aware of those things all the time when you see them, because, that's all you can do. It's not your job to fix it. If you did get up there and try to fix that section of the mountain, people would be bitching. They would.
Yeah. I did not think about that with the policies of the store that I'm working on. What would happen if it, like, big chunk of trees came down in the middle of the road and it was days before I could get back to work?
There's an alternative route that you could get to
I
work.
meant like here in the holler. Like,
well, from here, instead of going out to the mouth of the holler, you go up by Mom's and you go out that way.
Well, I'm talking about if it blocked the way to those sections that you can get out. Because you go up that way, there's no getting out.
The possibility of both of them being impassable, which, I mean, it could happen. But that's where you have somebody's phone number, and I guess you'd have to climb to the top of the hill or something like that to get signal. During Helene, we had no signal. We had to drive miles.
Yeah. Well, I would probably have to walk less than half a mile, because if it was blocked down that way, it'd be fine.
And we've had that before. I mean, as far as the river getting up in the road to where you couldn't get out either way. And then you had to go up the road and then back and hope.
See, the flooding is to be expected, but we don't get flooding in the area, the small little part of the area that we're in.
Yeah, we're up on a hill.
My main concern is trees falling down.
Oh, yeah, that's always a possibility.
Mountain sides washing in or washing out, trees falling. So that's why I'm more concerned about trees falling in the road than the flooding part. I know how to get around the parts that are flooded.
Yeah. And it's like, it's always good to have an alternative plan. And maybe this is just how my mind works. To sit there and go, okay, if this is impassable, what do I need to do? If you go through these scenarios mentally, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
Right.
Plan for the worst and hope for the best. That type thing. And I guess that came from Marine father also. Pay attention to what's going on. Look at this. If this happens, you could do this. And options, exploring options.
Well, I think it also goes into the prepping thing. Just basic natural instincts, as far as survival.
But if somebody's not taught, most people don't even think about that. It's Appalachian. I mean, that's just, we have winter that comes every year.
Right, and because a lot of these people do not, they do not have the instincts, to withstand scenarios like this.
Yeah, I mean, but my God, they were talking about...
that is a lack of teaching. That is a lack of teaching, but it's also a lack of... Well, shit, it's just a lack of awareness also.
Yeah, I think it's and some of it is that these scenarios have not occurred in so long, bless, that people forget. Mm-hmm. I mean, it just, and God love them. I mean, I think that they said that the river rose maybe, I mean, it was just like a huge amount of rain. I can't, you'd have to fact check me on this, but it was like in 45 minutes, the water had rose like 25 foot.
Holy shit.
I mean, it was just this astronomical amount. And people are like, how in the hell did that happen? And it's like, well, how did a hurricane travel 500 miles inland? Possibly.
Harp. Weather manipulation.
And that's just like...
you think they got rid of it? Nope, you're wrong.
Oh, no. And that's just like that one Congress lady, I can't think of her, Green is her name. I was trying to remember what her name was. As far as to make it illegal about the weather engineering. Well, and everybody's like, oh, it doesn't exist. Well, hell yeah, it exists. Marjorie Taylor Greene's her name. It exists. They had people testify before Congress before that they were involved in it. Mm-hmm. But to make that shit illegal. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I understand if there has been a severe drought issue or something like that, you could make an exception and do some of the cloud seeding or something. But every time they do that stuff, it goes really, really bad. Those folks over there in the Middle East, now you talk about what happens when you have severe rain in drought condition. They had flooded the whole city. It's unpredictable. You can't determine how much rain will come.
Mm-hmm. And it will cause some major shit.
Yeah.
So it's like it's better not to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, if you can't control it, if you can't control the outcome on that, should you really be messing with it?
I would say no.
Right.
Like, the weather, that's up to God to do.
It is. But it's also to pay attention to the signs and the seasons and everything like that. And it was heartbreaking. It was just truly heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And there they had the Christian camps, for the kids and stuff like that. And they had found this one little girl, 12 miles. She was 12 years old. She was hanging from, by a tree to a tree. Yeah. The water had swept her 12 miles from her where the campsite was.
Shit.
Yeah.
She dead?
No, that one was alive.
Good.
But there were other ones that were not. Now, the rescue efforts there, because it looks like it's flat land, will be probably easier than it was in North Carolina. Now, North Carolina, the mountains came down. It wasn't just the water. It was the mountain came down on these people. And more than once.
Yeah.
And so some of those people, they'll never find them. They've just become part of the land. Mm-hmm. And it's not a matter of which one is, more horrible than the other, because it's all horrible.
Yeah, it's all pretty fucked up.
It just... But these things are not... They don't happen as frequently as they used to. And because that people have stopped teaching history, learning history, different things like that, they act like it's unusual. No. It's really not.
I think that's what it is. It's a lack of awareness.
Mm-hmm. And that was something else that I have noticed greatly over the past couple of days. But some of the comments about these situations, some people are just horrible. I mean, they just spiritually dead. Truly.
Yeah, some of them are.
I mean, somebody it's like, well, I guess that the Christians didn't pray hard enough. And I'm thinking, you are a sick son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's complete seared conscience as far as that.
Yeah.
A lack of emotional compassion.
Something that I have noticed severely over the past couple of days, we've got people that it's a matter of progression, regression, and stagnation. If people
what does that entail?
If people are progressing, they still have room to grow. It is they're bettering themselves in whatever way. They're still curious. You've got people that are moving backwards. I actually have had to. I very rarely unsubscribe to anybody. I mean, it's just there. I mean, even if I don't watch their stuff, whatever, I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
But within the past week, there were 2 people that I had been subscribed to and actually still watch them quite frequently. But because of their attitude, I'm just like, dude, you've been looping for all these years. I'm tired of hearing you bitch. And so I just got rid of it. There is a difference between recognizing that there is a problem and then trying to find solutions and opening the space up to other people who may have solutions.
Yeah.
That's different. But when all you want is to make money over gathering other people who want to just sit and whine and bitch, no, I'm out. And then the other one, by God, he had built something wonderful, had overcome so much, and recently just it's like watching, what is it, Clooney girl?
Eugenia Cooney?
Yeah. And I'm just like, and I'm not going to sit here and watch you destroy yourself. And so I just couldn't, because, when somebody is at that level, they're not going to listen to anybody other than God. And usually God has to do something extreme.
Right.
And I thought, I don't want to see it.
I'm wondering who that was that you're talking about.
Oh, that's Styx.
Oh.
And it's like I have watched him for so many years. And it's like I was, honestly, because when you listen to somebody for a long time, you get to know about them because they were close. And people do that with us, those who have been with us for a long time. Because we're pretty, open and honest about a lot of parts of our lives. But he had truly built something up, overcome so much, and then, his world blew up. And you don't, just because something goes really bad, that does not mean you have to add to.
Right.
But when somebody is bragging that they've cast spells and caused somebody to die, that's a problem.
Yeah. That's a oh shit, you fucked up big time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like you're messing with forces that you have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as, that stuff coming back on you sevenfold, don't want to see it.
Mm-mm.
And it's sad. I mean, and I still pray for him. I do. I have been led to pray for him for many years. And there's others, We don't know. That's up to God. But I don't have to watch it. And then as far as the stagnation that you've got, again, with the doing the same thing, that loop and loop and loop. Mm-hmm. And we've got people in our lives that do that. These are the same ones that they'll tell you the same thing over and over and over. Some of that is age-related. Some of it is unprocessed trauma. A lot of this is subconscious.
Yeah. A lot of it is unresolved stuff coming up and being projected out there.
But it's one of those, do they not pay attention? Are they that unaware that that's what they're doing?
Some of them are genuinely that unaware.
I mean,
but there always has to be some level of self-awareness as far as how they're acting.
And and in somebody like me, it's like you do realize that this is a theme that you go back to over and over and over. And then they get pissed. I'm not popular. Never been popular. Because I'm the one that will sit there and go, you need to deal with this. Your life could be better. It could be different if you would, let's talk about this. Or if you don't want to talk to me about it, talk to someone about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's hard. And that Carl Jung quote, I had reposted that somewhere today, about people will do almost anything rather than face their own soul. That's a very bad paraphrase, but you get the gist of it.
They don't want to face the ugly parts of them.
Sure. And why?
Even though everybody has those ugly parts.
Of course they do. And to sit there and make peace with those. To sit there and go, can I live with this part of me? And if I can't, what do I need to do to change that? Mm-hmm. See, that is to progress.
Mm-hmm. To actually heal, move past it, you know, progress.
And it's like this era that we're living in, and maybe we've always done this, and because I haven't been here forever, it just seems like it, for people to get stuck. If you've got somebody at whatever age that thinks they've got it all figured out, get away from that person. Mm-hmm. Because they're stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it says the beginning of wisdom is to know that you know nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But the level of emotional immaturity, you can understand why teenagers and young adults do some stupid things. Because you do have that frontal lobe shrinkage and all that stuff, and as far as the ability to reason. But when people that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond still doing the same type of shit, there's a severe problem.
Well, at that point, I think that it's a little too late for them because there's ruts in their brain.
Exactly.
Because you do the same thought processes, same shit all the time, over and over. It drives ruts through your brain.
It does. And
in those specific sections, wherever that memory resides, or actions reside.
But you can get out of that. There are ways out of that.
Yeah, if you tackle it early on. But those people, it's like ingrained in them.
Even then, there are ways to sit there. You have to be self-aware to sit there and go, oh, I'm doing that again. I'm giving in to the negative thoughts. I'm giving in to the negative self-talk, all that stuff. Let's do something else. I'm going to redirect my thoughts. Mm-hmm. And that's where the positive self-talk, there's all kinds of little tools, if you want to call it gimmicks. Somebody's like, it's a gimmick. It's a tool.
Yeah, exactly. It is a tool.
If it's the positive, if it's the mirror work, to look at yourself in the mirror without judgment.
Right.
That's a challenge for some of us.
Mm-hmm. Some people will, the non-judgment, that's difficult for a lot of people because it's like some people will get really defensive if you try to help them as far as correcting these behaviors. They will get real defensive. You
cannot help someone who does not want help. And that's hard too, but that is a matter of you can't overstep your boundaries because that's going to get somebody's free will. Even if your intention is good, you're still doing evil.
Yep. That is true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's just, it's hard.
So it's like, what do you do with those people that don't want help?
You pray. You pray that God will touch their hearts, their minds, their spirits, open their eyes to where that they can see and understand before they go too far. Knowing that no matter what you do, there's some that there are some people that are just truly bent on their own destruction, and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Because we're limited in our understanding how to help certain people with certain situations. That's the reality in this moment.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
And it's hard.
Reality is hard.
Yeah. This is boot camp. That's how I view it. I've always viewed it as boot camp.
Yeah.
To overcome, but to not allow somebody else's sadness and suffering to You can empathize with them, but to not be drawn into their drama to the point you lose yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not, it's almost like a vicarious thing. That is not your personal experience.
Right.
And then you're missing out on your experience of what is in front of you.
That is very true.
And we got a lot of people doing that right now, that they're worried about somebody, what's going on to somebody that, and they have created this myth in their mind as far as who these other people are in these other nations without ever going to those other nations and meeting some of those other people, and they assume that they're like them, and they're not.
Yeah.
They're not.
It's an illusion.
Yeah. And that it's up to them. It's a savior complex. It's up to them to do whatever. And it's like, if you've got that calling, go over there. Don't be a keyboard warrior. You go over there firsthand and do.
Mm-hmm.
Tearing down shit here in our nation doesn't help anybody.
No, it doesn't help anybody. And you know what? A lot of these people want to be like, oh, we're struggling with money. What it is, it's a lack of budget.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you gotta have money to move over there. Okay, what? How much DoorDash are you ordering?
Mm-hmm.
How much Starbucks are you getting on a daily basis?
Right.
What frivolous things are you spending your money on?
Mm-hmm.
That you could easily use to save up to go move over there and do whatever work that you're led to.
If that nation allowed them in, because they have vetting processes. They don't just allow anybody to come across their borders. Nobody does.
Exactly. You got to follow their rules, and now you got to follow America's rules.
Yeah.
No matter what nation you are in, you have to follow their rules.
Yes. It's called a rule of law.
But these people do not want that. They want a rule-free society, or at least a thing that is like, oh, you can't do this, but I'm going to be allowed to do this.
They need to read The Lord of the Flies.
Because that's basically what they're wanting.
The thing is, even within that, there are archetypes of humans that different ones are going to respond in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody is nice. I mean, that again is reality. You do have some people, they're more aggressive. You've got some people that are more passive, more amiable. You've got the athletic types. You've got the intellectual types. Different types of humans that they can work together if they choose to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you've also got those types that it is their whatever reason to tear down. I don't understand. Maybe that is to encourage others to continue to build rather than become stagnant.
Maybe.
And that is one of the things right now as far as art, music, all that stuff. We have been in a level of stagnation for a long time.
That is true. We have. We have not heard anything truly original.
Right.
In a long time.
Right. I mean, my God, we're recording this on July the 5th of 2025, and God love him. Today was supposed to be Ozzy's last concert, and, as far as Black Sabbath and stuff. Yes, that is a coming of age. It is a closing of a chapter. He's old.
Mm-hmm.
He has Parkinson's. People get old. Things happen.
But that's still a big thing because he's such a cultural icon that people still hold.
I'm amazed he lived this long.
Exactly. That goes along in it. People are very proud of him and his journey.
Yeah.
And so they want this to be like a mega celebration of all of his accomplishments.
But some people, it's like, I know that Hart had been on tour someplace, and the comments were like, what the hell happened to them? They got old.
Oh, Annie, Dreamboat Annie.
And I'm trying to think which one it was. Anne, and what was the other one? Nancy. Had some kind of autoimmune disorder or something, and she gained weight. And people's like, she got fat. Let me tell you something. If the worst thing that anybody ever does in their life is get fat, and I am so over these people that are so fucking shallow that they can't get beyond. That's a person that has got a real problem.
Yes.
That you can't. Okay, you hate fat people. So what? You're discounting a lot of truly incredible individuals. Mm-hmm. Obesity is a symptom. But you've got these people because they've never had to deal with it. Well, these are the ones that it's like, if they have achieved that level of enlightenment, ascend already and leave the rest of us alone as we're still working our way through.
Mm-hmm. And as far as the looping, I think we see that in society a lot as far as the looping.
Yep. Going back to that Mean Girls Club.
Yeah.
Mean Boys Club.
Mean people.
Mm-hmm. Until it happens to them, and then they're like, oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Well, because it does come back.
Well, that was the whole thing about Mean Girls, is that this shit was going to come back on them at some point, and the main one who framed whichever girl that Lindsay Lohan played that came from Africa, exchange student from Africa.
Mm-hmm.
What was her name? Anyway, the blonde chick, the head of the plastics, she got hit by a bus.
Scripture tells us that we reap what we sow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, time is too short for people to be screwing around.
Right. Right.
And it just, I don't know. It's one of those that I would rather progress than regress.
Yeah, I want to progress.
Stay curious. Continue to ask questions. Always. Do your own research. Think your own thoughts. Read books. Listen to a variety of people, even people that you don't agree with, because those are the people sometimes that can challenge you to find out why you believe what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't defend why you believe, then do you really believe? Whatever that is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of us that have had to go back and go, and question everything we've ever been taught, whether it was science or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just like, what was the agenda? Did they truly know what they were talking about? Yes, gravity does exist. I am a firm believer in gravity. It's not just a construct.
Well, there's people that were saying that it was that gravity is a cause of whatever thing. I don't remember what that was.
Yes, it's a cause of falling down.
It was some planetary shit as far as why gravity is a thing.
I'm not even going out. I don't have the brain power.
Yeah, it was a big brain thing.
Well, and it was like Stephon Burns, and he is. I have actually referenced him quite a bit because before the flood hit there in Texas, he was talking about the solar activity plus the current planetary alignment and stuff, that you would have increased Earth weather.
Loves that.
And to, even as far as if it's over there on X, some of these people to sit there and go, hey, this dude's been talking about this. He is a geophysicist or whatever the hell it is. And that's a hard thing to try to spell for me.
Yeah, and along with those weather patterns, it's definitely going to be affecting people's mental states, physical states, all that shit, emotional states.
The more information that you have, the more dots that you can connect to get a fuller picture.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got tools, why would you not use them?
All it is basically a astrological version of one of those, like, pin maps in a way.
Yes. Yes. Oh,
Connect
Lord.
the dots.
Yeah. Everybody is having paranormal and supernatural. Let us all continue to pray one for another, and remember those who are in prayer, who need prayer more at this particular time.
Yep. If you like this video, comment, like, share, subscribe. Check us out on BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube at Berlanda's Cup of Coffee with Scream. Also check her out on X, previously known as Twitter, at Berlanda COCWS. Thank you all for joining us. Have a good.
Know that you are loved. Prayer does change things.
It does
Everything
work.
is vibration and frequency.
It does work.
It does. It truly does. And, yeah. Treat other people the way you would like to be treated.
Yep.
And Lord willing, we'll see you on the next cup.
Yep.
Bye.